I've been a Delkim fanatic now for over 15 years and I still shudder when I see people using roller alarms. Now, one of the main reasons I say that is because Delkim has a main signature feature, which is the vibration system. And why that's better than a roller buzzer is quite simple really. You get a lot of nightmare stories of people when they've woken up using a roller buzzer, they've had a take and it's not even registered. The line can sometimes flick to one side of the roller. On other occasions, the actual line can freeze in the roller buzzer in extreme conditions. That will never happen with a Delkim. The vibration system is adjustable, so you can have it super sensitive or almost no sensitivity whatsoever. And that's got its uses for different conditions. So let's have a look at them. So the Delkim has a plus and minus sensitivity setting. Now, in most situations in the UK or where I'm fishing France and I'm sort of carp fishing for big carp, I prefer to have it on the plus setting. I normally have it on plus and either 2 or 3. Now that makes the alarm quite sensitive. Let me just show you now. I'm just barely moving it. That's like probably a mil of movement on the line, and I had a couple of bleeps there. And that's vital for me, you know. If I'm fishing for big carp, if I'm fishing at long range, the last thing I want to do is be in a situation where the carp are getting away with it, or I'm getting line bites and I'm not actually getting any registration back at the alarm end. And with this plus and minus sensitivity, you can control what feeds back to the bank. If I move this from plus to minus and give you an idea of the change in sensitivity. Now, I've got it on 0 sensitivity. That's almost no sensitivity. I've had to almost pull line off the reel to get a bleep. And that's why when you're fishing rivers or flowing water and places where you're going to get a lot of sort of movement, things hitting the line, that's when the minus sensitivity comes into its own. And if you get a full-blooded run, you're going to get registration. But for sort of big carp situations, I would always recommend that you go on the plus setting and either put it on 1 or 2, but maybe even 3, okay? That's very important. Now, another time that I'd put it on minus sensitivity is when I'm fishing under the rod tops. Now, if fish are sort of coming in close and they're touching the line and the alarm head's on loud, the last thing you want is that alarm to keep beeping and potentially spook fish away. So my recommendation would be to put it on the minus setting and then maybe sensitivity 2 or 3. Now, that would be more than sensitive enough to give you a sort of good screamer when it goes, but also you're likely to get the odd line bite to let you know fish are in the area. And also, more importantly, if fish have got away with it and have blown your rig out, you're likely to still get a decent registration then. So that's how I'd use them. Sensitivity that you can control from the maximum possible to the minimum to suit all fishing situations. That leads us on nicely to the RS Pro receiver. Now here I've got the TXI Plus alarm, which is the top of the range Delkim available, and it's paired perfectly with the RX Pro. Now in the top right hand corner, you've got the letters L and D. Now the L stands for local, and that means you've got up to 50 meters of range from your rods. So generally, if you're fishing on your rods and you're close to the tips, then keep them on local setting, and also that maintains the battery life the best. Moving on to the D, that stands for distance, and you've actually got up to 200 meters of range on the receiver. Quite unbelievable really. So if a mate's likely to be that far away, then you know you've got the security of getting perfect range back on the receiver head. And talking about the LEDs, you can literally tune in loads and loads. I couldn't even tell you the number, but it's a lot of alarms that can go onto this awesome tiny bit of kit that does so much. Well, there you go, a brief look at the Delkim alarm range. There's also an EV model in the Delkim portfolio, which is slightly less expensive. However, just to reiterate, this sensitivity factor of a Delkim is vital. The vibration system really sets it apart from any other alarm on the market. And I'd seriously tell you now, do not invest in a roller buzzer. These are the ones that I would use above anything else in all conditions. There is nothing quite like a Delkim. Next stop,